Who wants to go on the table? Okay, come. Come. Yeah. The excitement. I couldn't pass up the excitement factor. You won it with your excitement. I never know why I'll pick who, but your excitement worked. So we're going to start you face down. So the first thing that I'm going to do when I work with people, to me this is not a body therapy. This is a field process. It's not a body work. My goal is not the body. My goal is the field. So when I work, the most important thing for me when I'm working is what's happening here. And this is I tell you, if you work with people, this is one of those things I mentioned earlier. If you're working with people, either in health and wellness or in any other area, what's going on with you is affecting what's happening with the people you're working with. You want to affect things and be successful and have a positive impact on the planet and the people around you? Well, the place to start is right here. In other words, if you got something going on one day and you go in and interact with someone, that's going to affect that situation. If they have something going on and they come and they interact with you, that's going to affect your situation. If the whole planet has something going on and they have something going on and you have something going on, well now who the heck knows what's happening? Which is basically what's happening right now on our planet. From my perspective, here's the other scenario. The other scenario is you're working your perception, and the first thing you're doing is assessing before the person gets here, before I work on anyone ever. I take a moment. Before I came down here today, I make sure I'm in still point. Everyone again, take a nice big breath in. As the breath comes out, relax, let go. And again, just drop and just rest right here. If you are in still point when you work with people, the people that come, they're going to dissolve. They're going to start to unwind and dissolve through osmosis. I tell you, people on planet Earth are longing, they're craving one thing from my perspective: neutrality. That's what people are longing for, from my perspective. And that's I'm constantly cultivating this space around my body to be neutral. Which isn't necessarily easy on planet Earth right now. There's a lot of polarity happening. Yogis say this whole planet has been a lot of karma. So, that's okay. Let's start right here. Let's start dissolving what we can right here. The more you start to dissolve in neutrality, the more neutral energy of the universe is going to flow through your field. Which, if you're going to line up with something, the neutral energy of the universe is a strong thing, strong principle. When I work with someone, first place I start is the adrenal glands. And I always step back. I put the laser on, I put it over the adrenal glands. She's doing exactly what I like to see happen. I put on the adrenal glands and I step back to about here. Why? I want to give space for her field to open and unwind. People come to me with a lot of different situations, all sorts of conditions. People come to me with injuries. Could be a pinprick. Could be, a health challenge. Could be depression. Could be they've been told they've had 2 days left to live. Every one of those people I respond to in the exact same way. Every single one. I don't care if a doctor tells someone they have a couple days left to live. My view, my perspective, if they still have their body, if they're in front of me, my view is miraculous that they're here. I tell everyone. I don't say this to everyone, but what my view with every single person is if you're still here, you're doing great. And I tell people in our seminars, go home, nice pat on the back, because whatever's going on in your life, I don't care what it is, if you're still here in the body, you're doing great. And that's where we want to start to work from. that place. Again, I really mean this. Doesn't matter to me. And when someone comes to me and they tell me, oh, they have this, or oh, they've been told this, or oh, it's this, I respond the same way to everyone. And that is, I nod my head. I don't start jumping in and trying to play doctor. I don't start saying, oh, well, then we're going to do this, and have you tried this? And oh, you got to go see this person. I don't go there. I go here to neutrality. And I say, neutrality, you come and help this situation. So I nod my head, not because I don't care about what's going on. I just nod my head and smile and say, great, come, let's get you on the table. My view is that every single thing in the universe is woven from one thing, the essence of neutrality. That is the underlying substance that weaves everything from stars to galaxies to elements to cells to organs to people. And all I ever want to do in my life, when I find something that's not working so good or something's going on, I say, great, how you doing? Welcome. Let's dissolve and come back to neutrality. Let neutrality come in and do its work. Neutrality can find solutions for everything. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. So the first place I work with people when I work with the laser is the adrenal glands. The adrenal glands. The adrenal glands are so important for a majority of people on, at least in our society, on planet Earth. Why? Especially out here in the West Coast. Particularly good area to work on the adrenals. The adrenals release something called adrenaline and also cortisol. Adrenaline is very valuable, particularly when there's big animals chasing you. It says, get out of the way. Go up that tree over there. That's what adrenaline does. Adrenaline basically tells your entire body, stop doing what it's doing. It says, stop to the thyroid. Stop to the pancreas. Stop to the thymus gland. It says, everything stop. We got to go and get up that tree. Which is a great thing when there's a big bear chasing you down. Problem is, there's not a lot of big animals chasing people nowadays. Yet people are releasing a ton of adrenaline. So what does that adrenaline do? It goes around and it tells the systems to shut down. And if people live with a lot of stress and adrenaline all day long, their systems shut down. The thymus shuts down, your immune system. The pancreas shuts down, diabetes. The thyroid shuts down, metabolism, lymph system. Pineal and pituitary shut down, depression. Prostate shuts down, ovaries shut down, fertility issues, menopause issues. From my perspective, every single condition right now on planet Earth, the underlying problem, the underlying big issue is likely adrenaline, stress. So, first place I start with everyone I work with, unwind the adrenals. Real simple. 3 points I work with most people initially. First one, adrenals. Can't say this enough. So important for people. You know, in other words, if someone comes to me and they have major, heartburn or major situation, and they want me to go and fix the knee or this, well, until we've unwound the adrenals, if I just work on the knee or that situation, they'll feel better for an hour or two. Then they'll go home. Then the adrenaline's going to kick in. Then the system's going to shut down again. Then they're going to want to come back and see me the following week. Well, my goal is I don't want to do that. I don't want to chase around all these things. I want to go right to the underlying essence of what's the problem here. Why is the body contracting at all? For that, we got to get the adrenals to unwind. So first thing I do on every person I work with is to unwind the adrenal glands. As I'm doing this, what I've been doing as I'm talking to you all, I've been doing a few things. One, I keep making sure I'm in still point. If as a practitioner, if you're not in still point and you're working with someone, guess where they are? If you're thinking, guess what they're doing? Thinking. If you're busy trying to heal them and fix them because you feel bad or you feel like that's your job or you're busy taking care of everyone around you, to all the women in the room here, guess what? They're going to be having the motion. So really, really important, make sure you're in neutrality. If you're in neutrality, people say, oh, this laser is so great. I hear all these testimonials. It's not the laser. The laser is great. It's a good tool. But the reason we have a lot of testimonials is because of neutrality. Make no mistake about it. Laser's just a tool. It sends some energy and it sends some scalar waves, which are neutral waves. Neutrality is the thing that comes in and brings solutions to people. And the laser is just one tool. Still point process is another tool. I never tell anyone you need a laser. Your lasers are great if you can afford it and it's a good fit. Yet still point, it can drop things into neutrality easy. I just showed you how to do it. Take a breath, relax. Drop into still point. All right, so the other thing that I'm doing when I'm working with someone, when I step out here, the other thing that I'm doing is I'm watching to see how she's responding. Very clear to me. You can see I just put the laser on a different place. The second place that I put the laser on is the sacrum, the tailbone, the sacral area. Very important area. Sacrum comes from sacred bone. Sacred bone. As I put it on here, I'm watching to see how she's responding. And she's responding beautifully. She's going like this. Basically, she's going like this. She's kind of breathing, what I call an unwinding kind of breath. Not everyone does that. Some people I might put it on and their body's not really... When people come to me, the way I look at it, they come for a session, most people are going like this. They're really going in terms of the wave of their central nervous system. So they're going like this really fast. When I put them on the table, I'm trying 2 or 3 programs. Not a lot. I try unwind, quantum. I'm looking 3 or 4 things initially. And I'm looking for when I see this go to this. I'm looking for when this starts to go like that. And as soon as I see that happen, I'm done. I step back and I'm done. I'm good. That make sense? That's all I try to do. And I don't try too hard. Just a little bit. She's doing it exactly. How's that feel there on the table? Good. Good. Occasionally I'll check in and I'll ask someone how they're doing. I could tell she was unwinding, yet I want to show you this. Occasionally I'll ask someone, and you can tell right away, not by what they say, by how they say. If I ask someone how they're doing and they say, oh, I'm doing great, I know they're not unwinding. If they respond fast and it's from their thinking, they're not unwinding. If I ask someone, she took a moment. She didn't really want to answer. She would have just assumed. But usually they'll say, yeah, I'm great, thank you. Basically, little as possible. When people unwind, they don't want to think. They want to unwind. To me, it's the same thing. This process is the same. Anyone, you all have computers? Everyone have a computer? Some, yeah? Anyone have a computer that ever... Silly question in California. I asked that question in some places. You'd be amazed. Not everyone has computers. So in any event, anyone ever have a computer that froze up? Yeah. Well, what do? Kick it, knock it around, beat the crap out of it. No. I do 3 or 4 things when a computer freezes up. I try Control-Alt-Delete first. If that doesn't work, I hit all the keys, kind of like that, which works. Our daughter's been locking ours up. And if I go like this, great. If that doesn't work, I try to power it down. If that doesn't work, I unplug it. Each of those things I'm looking for one thing to get me back in. If I can get back in, I can clean stuff up, I can run some programs, I can work it with it. The approach that I take to working with people is the exact same thing. Someone comes to me with a knee, with an emotional situation, depression, autoimmune. All it tells me is they're not processing. So they come to me, not processing. My goal, get them on the table, and I try 3 or 4 things. Unwind, quantum, pleo, unity, wave. Few programs, not many. And all I'm looking for on one of those programs is when I see them start to unwind and breathe. Does that make sense? That's the whole essence of this process. And as soon as I see that start to unwind, then from my perspective, neutrality's back in, I'm done. I let neutrality take over. So this is really easy. You don't need to be a doctor. You don't need to get major training. Anyone who's here today and tomorrow, when we are done, you are going to be totally capable to work on anything that comes along. Any situation that comes along, very simple equation. Rest in still point if you can. Try the laser. Try 1, 2, 3, 4 things, 5 things. Any people doing that right now here? Raise your hand if you have laser and is that basically what people are doing? It's easy, right? Anything that comes up in my body. You can't sleep, you get a headache, you get a bump into something. Anything that comes up in my body, in my situation, I take the laser, I try this until I feel my body start to unwind. As soon as I feel that, I'm done. This is perception. The more you do this with the laser, for me, if I have a laser, I use the laser. If I don't have the laser, I open up my quantum field, I take my perception, and I dissolve whatever's going on. Whatever's going on. All right, so the sacrum is the second place that I work on with a lot of people. And the reason that it's the second place that I work on with a lot of people is because there are a ton of people. The sacrum is like the bottom of a pendulum. Or any builders here, it's like a plumb line. Anyone build? It's like the bottom of a plumb line. You know, a plumb line tells you if something's true. Right? It's true. But what does true mean? Without polarity. Different meaning of the word true. You know, in the last age, everyone true was, right and wrong. Is it true? You know? True has a totally different meaning. True without polarity. Polarity, karma, neutrality. You understand? You get it? So if that is the reference of true, so let me put it like this. A ton of people I work with, the sacrum, the tailbone, goes like this. It tilts to one side. So here's what happens when people have a sacrum that tilts to one side. The spine compensates, which is what's called scoliosis. Can't tell you how many people with scoliosis I've unwound chronic back pain simply by unwinding the sacrum. Unwinding the sacrum. You unwind the sacrum, the spine plumb lines right back into gravity. So a huge percent of people, here's what happens to so many people on planet Earth. And this would be like buying a home or building a home or a building, and you build your foundation like this. And then it's like, oh, okay, great, let's start building. Well, no one would build like that. So a huge amount of people have their sacrum, and it tilts onto one side. So here's what the body does to compensate. The hips, it's been a while, I seem to forget anatomy. So the hips countercompensate. Now one leg appears longer than the other. It's not really longer, it's just countercompensated to correct that tilt in the sacrum. So now the hips go like that to countercompensate. The shoulders now go like that to countercompensate the other way. The sphenoid countercompensates the other way inside the cranium. And now the knees have to try to make sense and get the person around. So the knees are like working like this. Now people are using all of their energy to hold their body up in gravity. I can't tell you how many people with knee injuries I've sold lasers to. And all I do is unwind the sacrum. Someone comes to me with a major knee issue, or they had surgery, they had the other knee went out. I don't even work on the knees. I go right to the sacrum. Why? The sacrum has these big nerve trunks that come out of it. The nerve trunks pump blood. When the sacrum moves as it's supposed to, there's this amazing thing called nerve conduction. Nerve conduction pumps blood down the legs. Blood goes down, then it pumps back up. Goes down. Well, if the sacrum is locked up, which it is in so many people, there's no nerve conduction. There's no blood. There's no oxygen. Of course people get bone on bone. Without nerve conduction, without blood, that's what happens. So anyone with knee problems, unwind the sacrum. I sell a lot of lasers every year just by unwinding people's sacrum. They walk away, come back an hour later, call up later, they want to buy a laser because they feel significant improvement. The knees relax. Again, second place I work on most people is the sacrum. Third place that I work on is the occipital ridge. There's a ridge line called the occipital ridge between the ears. Between the ears. Occipital ridge, which is a really great point for a lot of people. It's a great point for her. As soon as I put it on her, it's a very good point. Many people have issues around the occipital ridge. There's a key nerve that comes out of the occipital ridge right here called the vagus nerve. Called the vagus nerve. Not named after Las Vegas. It's named after Vegas Wanderer. And the vagus nerve does everything your body does without you thinking about it. Digestion, circulation, heart rhythm, you name the function, organ functions. I mean, basically, your vagus nerve is taking care of you constantly. New studies they found, I read this online, they found, guess what? Guess what they discovered, which is fascinating. Thinking shuts down the vagus nerve. Excessive thinking will shut down your body's, the nerve that governs breathing, circulation, digestion, organ function, and the heart. That's a problem. That's a significant issue in our society. So again, let me just say what happens to so many people is when there is a lot of adrenaline, here's what happens. When people have a lot of adrenaline or stress, it shuts down the body and the TMJ. Anyone heard of the TMJ, temporomandibular joint? Here's what happens. When you have a lot of stress, the TMJ shuts down and goes like that. Which in 90% of the issues has nothing to do with the TMJ. It has to do with excessive stress. Yet what happens when the TMJ shuts down is that it pinches the occipital ridge in the back. Like a door. It shuts down the occipital ridge. Well, now the vagus nerve that slips out here and does this gets clamped down. And what happens? Stress. People don't breathe so well. The heart shuts down. Digestion's the first thing that shuts down. The organs shut down. Everything shuts down. So hence, when I work with someone, before I even want to deal with anything else, my goal is 1, get the adrenals unwound. 2, get the sacral area to relax and open up. And 3, get the vagus nerve to open up. Without those 3, from my perspective, without those 3 things, all balanced and at ease, it's very, very hard to turn around. It's very hard to turn around a lot of health challenges. Can't say enough. Those 3 things to me are like your home. You know, you have your foundation, you have your walls, and you have your roof. You have all 3 of those things in a solid place, you're going to have a good home experience. You got a bad foundation, not a great experience. You got nothing good to cover on the roof, not a good experience. Really, really important. Every person I work with initially, my goal is to unwind the adrenals, sacrum, and occipital ridge. Let's have you turn over to your backside when you can, no rush. My approach, this is the first start point that I do with everyone I work with, adrenals, sacrum, occipital ridge. Yet after that, if someone has a knee injury, an organ problem, ringing in the ears, wherever the issue is, again, just like the computer. So what do I do in that situation? Ringing in the ears. Well, I go up, I bring the laser up there, and I start first program. What's the first one I'm going to do? Unwind. And I'm going to wait, and I'm going to see, well, does that have an effect of the person dropping back in to neutrality? Just like the computer, Control-Alt-Delete. And I'll watch the person when they do it. If I don't see them really start to unwind, I take the laser back. I don't wait long. I wait maybe a minute at most, 2 minutes. If I don't see them unwinding, I take the laser, I go back, and I switch to quantum. Second key thing I do, and I'll go over these in more depth. And again, I look and I watch and I see, does that area start to unwind, or is it still... And if that doesn't do it, I go to the third thing. And again, 4 or 5 things. And on every person I work with, on one of those 4 or 5 things, they usually start to relax, unwind, and dissolve. Again, you'll see, throughout the course of the weekend, people will ask me different conditions. And each condition, I'm going to respond basically the same way. I approach every condition that comes to me the same way. First thing I do is I welcome it. I invite it to unwind. If it doesn't want to unwind, I go to quantum. If it doesn't quantum, I might go to pleo or vital. If it doesn't respond pleo or vital, I go to unity or wave. And on almost every person, one of those programs, they start to unwind and dissolve. And as soon as I see that unwind, dissolve, I'm done. In the last age, everything was familiar, customary, coming from the past. Dimensionally, coming from the past. And the way I experience the new season, even things like, I don't even get too into things like, how do you say, it's very big in New Age, intention. And, good, thinking positive about things. I find any thinking to me is deleterious. And I say deleterious because for me, what I am trying to do constantly, my real attraction to being in neutrality is that when I'm in neutrality in the quantum field, I feel energy gently flowing up along the spine. And we'll get into this a little bit later. I feel energy coming up along the spine. And when I feel energy coming up along the spine, that energy bathes the glands in the brain. And the glands release this compound that to me is very blissful and feels very good. And so for me, that's, studies show that thinking, and if it shuts down the pineal and pituitary gland. They found that thinking shuts down the glands so that the glands actually get solid. To me, these glands are what are releasing really, really subtle, sweet nectar and bliss. And so, to me, the new season is about almost manifesting or expressing the future, our being, through the field. It's like the opposite. Where we were coming from the past before, we now have an opportunity to really express, like a flower expresses. A flower opens its petals and it shares its essence. You'd never go up to the flower and say, hey, what's your name again? What do? You'd be like, the essence just naturally flows through. And to me, this new season we're moving into is a very auspicious one that gives us, it's a very unique moment here in the experience. At least in my experience, it feels very rare. It feels like a very rare kind of moment for our people in terms of us being able to really dissolve all thought and to express that unique essence that each of us come here to share through our glands, not through the notion of who we are, who we've been in past lives, or any of that stuff. Natural expression through our DNA, through our glands, of who we truly are. What gift are we here to share? That to me is what, for me, is so exciting. And yes, please. So if the body is new every 7 or 8 years, the question becomes, why would someone have an injury 10, 15, 20 years later if your body is brand new? And what Deepak and some others came up with was this view of cellular memory, cell memory. So your injury, you got a knee injury, a shoulder, the cells in that area hold on to that information. The new cells keep coming in, yet the old cell passes that information to the new cell. And that process goes on, cell generation to cell generation. So it's really important to clear that information so the new cells can come in and be brand new, vibrant cells, instead of coming in and inheriting whatever the stress or shock or trauma was from the previous. The same thing that happens in family dynamics. Same exact thing. Parent has some situation, some stress, some emotion they don't want to deal with, and guess where it goes? It gets passed on to the next generation. It can be. It can be, but it also can just be a mother or a father is overly emotional, and the child is picking up that emotional, and it comes through. And then the problem is that the next generation, well, they don't want to deal with it either, So their view is, well, I didn't create that, which more likely they didn't. Yet, if you want to dissolve it, You got to own it. You got to own it. You got to clear it. And then it's no longer, it's the same thing with cell memory. When we dissolve cellular memory, it clears. It's just like a cassette tape. Remember the old cassette tape? Well, if you hit erase, it flipped the polarity. As soon as it flipped the polarity, neutrality, information gone. Same thing here. This is just the exact same thing. You know, you can either go through life holding on to everything from the past, which is what people in the last age have been doing. That's what's been happening here. The whole basis of our society has been, well, how many things can you grab and hold on to? What can you become? Go to school, learn this, do this, go out and do this, and activities, and do this, and do this. And the biggest thing that I see again and again with the people that I work with nowadays is that people are holding on to so much stuff. So my goal, very simply, is to invite. You get someone to start to unwind in neutrality. Everyone, again, take a nice big breath, drop into still point. My goal in life, every day, if I can define a couple things to dissolve, I'm good. So many people here are collecting a couple of things a day. New emotional challenge, a new psychological, a new belief system, a new cell memory to hold on to. Well, literally, every day. That doesn't mean I still don't have stuff I'm dealing with. Yet every day I look around my experience and I try to find, well, is there something here that we can dissolve today? Just like your garden. You have a garden. If you go into your garden, you clean up the twigs, the rocks, the weeds, a little care, and if you do, everything grows fine. No, that's not normally part of the that's not normally part of the initial session. I just did it at this point. This is the violet probe. You can see it's quite a bit stronger than it looks. It's not totally visible to the human eye. And I usually finish sessions with the violet probe. You can see, if you watch how she's breathing, how she's responding, as soon as I put the violet probe on, she responded totally differently. Her body completely shifted. Watch what's going on. I'm on Unity, which is the one I normally do with the violet probe. Watch the key things I'm watching. I'm not looking at the aura. I'm not looking at chakras. All I'm doing is watching how the person breathes and the face. When they're face up, I'm looking at the face. Is it relaxed? Is it... Very specific. Usually people with the violet probe, the face starts to get a little smile, a little bliss. It's how when I work with people, I can tell when the session's about done. Great, thank you very much. And there's no rush. You'd be nice and gentle getting off the table. Give her a nice, gentle round of applause. As I often say in our seminars, I often share in our seminars, it's now proven science that there is an energy field that surrounds the body. In this field of energy, this envelope they've now found, diagnostic with equipment, comes out 5 to 10 feet on most people. 5 to 10 feet. They've studied people and they found that people with a strong field of energy are way less prone to chronic pain, depression, autoimmune health challenges than people who have strong quantum fields. So if you have strong quantum field, less apt to have health challenges, disease. If not so strong quantum field energy, people are more prone to have challenges and health situations going on. So our whole approach, and I share this at every seminar, I start every seminar with perception. This is the key technology. Lasers, we're going to get to that in a moment. Yet from my perspective, the key technology here that we're working with is perception. This is the powerful technology, perception. Never want to lose track of that. Whatever thing I use, it's great. I love it. It's helpful. It's a great blessing. And yet, at the end of the day, I always come back and make sure this is the thing that I am working on and constantly cultivating and guiding, perception. It's key. Whatever you put this on, it's just like computer. You put it on thinking, you're going to get thinking. You put it on emotions, you're going to focus. It's like a tuner. You tune to emotions, you're going to get emotions. You have challenges, concern about the body, you're going to get a lot of challenges with the body. You tune it to the energy of the universe, neutrality, which to me is the scalar, is the prana, is the chi, is the universal energy, spirit, whatever name you want to give it. It's that substance, that essence, that thread that weaves together everything from the stars to the cells to the animals to the elements to our bodies to the entire fabric of the galaxy and the universe. And so to me, I'm constantly looking, well, how can I tune perception to invite this inrush of energy to come in and to find solutions and to strengthen this experience. And so today, before we shift gears to laser, I want to start a little bit differently. Yesterday we did extensively on lasers. And today I want to start a little bit differently. I want to focus in the first thing. I want to just touch on very simple process. Everyone go ahead and take a nice big breath in. And just hold at the top of the breath. Take a breath in. You can take a moment at the top of the breath, or you can breathe out, relax, let go, and right at the bottom of the breath. In between, breath in, out, in. There's a space at the top and there's a space at the bottom. What we want to start to use our perception for is to drop in. As I'm resting here in neutrality, to me it's kind of like, it feels like holding the breath. In fact, one way you can try this if you're new is just drop in, hold the breath for a moment, and then relax. The breath will keep going. It keeps regulating on its own, like when you sleep. Yet for me, as I'm resting here in this space between the breath, see if you notice anything. I notice as I'm holding this space. This is a key principle, piece to all of our seminars, our live streams, the upcoming retreats we do. This is the foundational skill. If you learn this today, I tell you, this is the most powerful thing I'm going to share today, by far. You hold this space right here. This is a muscle like anything else. You practice this, it gets strong. You don't practice it, it doesn't get strong. For me, I'm holding this space. As I'm holding this space, it feels to me like I'm plugged in to the neutral energy and essence. Energy, neutrality is filling in this space. In fact, to me, it feels like I'm being plugged into a spigot, and this area is like a big balloon, and it's filling up. I'm just holding right here in neutrality. You know, I talk a lot to folks about dropping into still point. Yet there's another element to dropping into still point. You can drop in here, and then you can hold it in a way where this space is getting filled. And that's what I want to practice right now for one quick moment. It's very subtle. Basically what we're saying is when we do this, we're basically saying with our perception, well, hold on, physical stuff. And we just very slightly, it's like fine-tuning until, it's kind of like the analogy is like when you're putting air into a tire and the pin is not right there and it's going shh, and then you find that right point and you hold that right point. All right, at a certain point, as I covered yesterday, and I often do, this field of energy gets strong. Like right now, for me, this is strong now. If I was doing this at home, I would have dropped in for a moment, taken a breath, dropped into still point, held this space until I get right here. And I call this opening the quantum field. In our seminars, this is called opening the quantum field. First step in our still point process, being able to drop into still point. You cultivate that, that's a muscle. You get comfortable dropping into still point. It leads to the second step, opening quantum fields. This quantum field is now nice and open. I liken this to checking your computer every day. How many occasions do you check your computer, your laptop, your pad? People check 50, 100 occasions a day. Oh, what's going on there? They look at their friends, their emails, their pictures, their videos, their folders, their files, their movies, their music. Well, how often do you check this quantum field? For me, I say every 10 occasions on the computer. Make a little note, put it up, hang it on your computer. Every 10 views on your computer. Start off every 100 views. And open this screen. I do this every day. I do it 2, 3 occasions a day. Here's what I want you to do now. This is a very simple process. Look around this space right here. Is there any problems? Is there any issues going on? Let this be a daily practice. Is there any issues or challenges going on in this screen? Start with the body. Just take a quick scan. Close the eyes. We're going to get to lasers in one moment. If you understand this, you're going to understand our approach to using lasers. This is the foundation for how I use lasers. So first thing you want to do, very quickly, look, is there anything going on in your body today? Any stress? Is there any injury? Is there any pain? Right here in the body. If you can't feel any, is there a health challenge you've been working on? Digestion, memory, aging, too much thinking, maybe an organ problem. Well, I find an area, right away I find an area in my body that's a little tender. So here's what I want you to do. Go with your perception up to that area. And just say to that area, aloha, welcome. Just welcome it. From the place of still point, from the place of neutrality, go up to that area and just say to those cells, with your perception, go right over there and simply say, welcome. As soon as I welcome the area that I'm working on, my body unwinds. I feel it start to go like this. It kind of goes, takes a sigh. Kind of feels a little bit like if you ever had a massage or if you ever had a network chiropractic or a cranial adjustment. I welcome that area, and the area goes into what I call unwind. Kind of like you have a little area and you pinprick it and everything starts flowing out. Same thing, you got a little area, just welcome it, it starts to flow, it starts to unwind. Until a moment later, for me, it drops me into still point. See, this is the language. If you get comfortable, there's tension, stress, we welcome things, they unwind, dissolve, they come back into neutrality. That language we are going to go over again and again today, especially when we get to the lasers, so hold tight. If you understand that language, contraction, what yogis call karma, I call it polarity. You unwind, welcome that polarity to unwind. That polarity begins to shift, it begins to dissolve, positive, negative. At a certain point it dissolves. Positive and negative have now had their chance to have a full dialogue. They shift to neutrality. Those are the three key variables of this universe. Positive, negative, neutrality. So, I go to this area, I welcome it, it unwinds, contraction, positive, it starts to dissolve, negative, drops into neutrality. All right, now look around once more. Is there anything else going on? Now look larger in the quantum field. Step out a little bit past the body. We started off with one body process right there. Now we go a little further. Is there anything going on in this space emotionally? Any challenge this week? Anything going on with a loved one, a friend, someone not doing well? A relationship, something with your work? A lot of things going on in people's lives. I'm sure everyone can find something. I can dig in. I can find a bunch of things in each of the, in the physical and the challenges. Whatever the challenges, pull it up onto the screen here. Pull it up. Whatever the challenges, just say, oh, great, come on up, welcome. And again, aloha, welcome it. Don't judge it, don't analyze it, don't send it energy, don't laser it, don't fix it. Simply welcome it as though it's a long-lost friend that's been holding something very dear for you until you are ready for it. Well, I pulled up something, a little challenge, welcomed it. As it welcomed, I can tell my body's unwinding. We call it still point response. I get to that a little later. And my body starts to unwind, starts to dissolve, starts to neutralize. Doesn't take long. When you have something like this and you prick it, it doesn't take that long for stuff to come out. We're not doing some big fancy process. And right there, I drop into neutrality. 2 things I just did. Physical body found something, welcomed it. Something else, and I'm resting here now in still point, back in this space of the quantum field. I tell you, most people go through life every day and they find a couple new things to grab on and hold on to. Yogis call it karma. Every day, new injury, new cell memory, new emotion, new thing to believe in or belief or program. In my life, every day, I take moment, carve some space out, just like you do with your garden. You get the weeds out, the twigs, you make sure everything's nice there. Your living room, you get the trash out, you clean it up. Everyone does this already. Computers, you clean up if there's any bugs. You delete some stuff, get your picture on there. Every day, check in with this space. As soon as I do that, I feel energy. The reason I do this every day is I feel after I clear a couple things, everyone check in for 1 moment at the base of your spine. For me, I feel a pulse. We call this the sacred pulse. There's a sacred muscle at the base. It's the same muscle you use to go to the restroom. It's the same muscle that doctors write about. The PC muscle. Kegel exercises. Same root muscle. It's like a tree. You have biggest nerve plexus in the body down here. Most people don't even ever understand. It's like having a car and not understanding how to accelerate. This nerve muscle is the most important thing in the body. It's the root. So squeeze it gently. Squeeze. After I clear some things, for me, I feel it starts to go like this. It squeezes a little, and then it relaxes a little bit. In my life, I don't even squeeze it. I feel this pulsation. And then it relaxes a little bit. And then I squeeze it a little bit. So what are we doing? Positive, negative. Positive, negative. Now, as you go in, drop it right in the space in between, in and out. Drop it right in the space in between. See, this is the same language we've been talking about. Positive, negative, neutrality. Same dialogue. So what do? Breath. In, out, neutrality. Base. In, out, drop it in neutrality. As soon as I drop it in neutrality, this is third step in still point process. First one, drop into still point. Second step, open up quantum field. Third step, squeeze the sacrum. We call this activation. Activate. As I hold this in neutrality right here, energy starts flowing up the spine for me. We call this activation. Energy is flowing up the spine. This is my goal every day. If I don't clear some things every day, whether with the laser, with the Wi-Fi, or with the quantum field clearing we just did, then I don't feel this energy floating up the spine, flying up the spine. I don't feel this energy up the spine. By the way, what is the medical symbol? Scalar wave, positive, negative, central column, neutrality, staff of life, glands at the top, wings, right, left brain, frontal lobe, energy flying up the body. This symbol, this Western medical symbol, is the essence of every alchemy, yoga, healing, shaman, mystic tradition the world over. Every single one understands this energy. I just cannot say how important this is. To me, the whole reason why I do everything else is so I can get here. It's like polishing a diamond. If I don't do that other stuff throughout my day, at certain junctures, at certain places, then energy gets like this. I tell you, yogis say that most people, the energy, you have so much energy, and that energy it's like a vase. If the energy is coming in a vase and it's going out, yogis call this the outgoing senses, and they say the biggest problem that most people have is that their senses are going out, which means that their energy is draining and going outward from the body. At a certain point, yogis say that changes. We cultivate that to change, and when that changes, they call it the root locks. They call it the bonds, B-A-N-D-H-S, bonds. Mula band is the root lock, is the very thing we're talking about, squeezing this area and holding it. I want you to try something. As you're holding this area at the very root, at the base, notice something. Try to think. Try to see if you can hold a thought while you're holding this root. It's not possible. Try to see if you can tune into an emotion while you're holding this root at the base of the spine. Can't do it. Now, as you're holding this root at the base of the spine, see if you can find an area of tension or pain in the body. Any pain in the body. See if you can find anything in the body that's uncomfortable as you're holding this. It's like a little sapling tree. You cut out the ball around the tree, and you carry it. Well, if you cut that tree at the bottom and try to move it, it's not moving. It's not going to grow. You take that out. You hold this at the root. This whole muscle, nerve plexus, biggest one in the body. Hold it and try to feel an area of tension or pain. I can't do it. It's not possible. I tell you, this right here, this is like a magic button. It's like a magic button. You cultivate holding this in this place of neutrality. There are different views about this, yet my view is you activate this and it activates nonlinear. This is the muscle that activates the neutral flow of energy along the spine and in our relativity. Well, you go into thinking, and guess what thinking does? Thinking does the opposite. Thinking activates polarity, right brain, left brain. You want to dissolve that? We had someone at a seminar, came to a seminar recently, and they asked me, they were still going to Still Point. This happened at the Vegas retreat, at the beginning of the retreat. Someone well-seasoned in our network who's been to many of our events. And they said, they go to Still Point, and the thoughts still come. He still has some thinking that comes up, and some considerations, and not sure he understands it, not sure he gets it. And so I said, okay, good. Well, hold Still Point, and now squeeze the root. He squeezed that root. I checked in. I said, you check in. You get back to me, and you practice this, and tell me if the thinking still comes in when you do this. He looked at me. He had a smile on his face, and the thinking was gone. The thinking was gone. And so I mean to say this, I often I don't always go deeper initially. This is profound. Just like I tell people to hold Still Point, that's scratching the surface. I don't only go around holding Still Point all day long. There are some situations where I'm dealing with a tough situation. I say, Still Point's not going to work. I can't stay open to this individual who I'm dealing with or this situation because it's not going to work. So what do? I say, well, let's flip this equation. I hold this place. Now my energy is not open here and interfacing. Now my energy is like coursing here along my spine. That person wants to get all whipsawed. They're upset at me. It's like, okay, great. Go for it. I'm not even here anymore. I'm here in this state. I don't even know who you are. I don't even know who I am. Third step. This is powerful. I tell some people, practice holding this every hour. Go through your day holding this root. Since I've been here back in Maui, in our dome, I mentioned yesterday we have this dome we live in here that's like this sacred geometry dome. It's like a temple. So I'm in there, and it's like energies like this until I lock the roots. And then I lock these roots in, and energy just flows. It just cruises. All right, good. That's the third step. The fourth step I just want to mention, and then we're going to shift gears here. Ambrosia. When I cultivate this energy up along the spine, it comes up here, and it starts to bathe the glands in the brain, the ambrosia, the nectar, what Carl Jung called secret of the golden flower, ancient Taoists, the elixir of life, the fountain of youth. In India, they call it Amrita, the sacred compounds that get released in the pineal pituitary when the energy along the spine starts to open and flower. And as soon as this is every day when I do this, and anyone who wants to learn this process, we're going to shift gears to lasers here in one moment, yet anyone who wants to learn this process, Anyone who wants to learn this process. Anyone who wants to learn this process, come to Vermont. We spend 3-4 days at a retreat. All we do is go through this process of this still point process. At the end of the retreat, I'm just getting a testimonial or two every day from folks from the retreat in Vegas who share how this is becoming real for them. They're using this in their lives. They're navigating challenges and changes using this process. Using this process. So come to the retreats. So fourth step in the process, activating ambrosia. Activating ambrosia. So this nectar, this flowering, this is key. I cannot say this enough. Every ancient system of wellness, the world over, whether it's the Tibetan Buddhist, they call it the rainbow body, whether it is the staff of life, whether it is the rainbow bridge, whether it is Kundalini, whether it is the shaman, every system understands that the key to health, to longevity, and ultimately to higher consciousness is understanding how to unify positive and negative, and activate. Yoga means unity. Activate this neutral flow of energy up into the brain to open up the glands, to open up the flowering, and to induce the nectar, the amrita, what we call the ambrosia process. So again, I've just walked through, simplified, 4 key easy steps to this process. 1, being able to drop into still point. Everyone come right back here for a moment. Drop back in still point. See? 2, you keep holding still point, and what happens? It opens up this space, this quantum field. In my life, I try to go through life and hold this space as much as I can. Well, at a certain point, you stay in this state. It activates the sacred muscle, sacred flow of energy, sacred pulse, wave of bliss up the spine. That energy up the spine nourishes the glands in the brain to open up the amrita, the nectar. This is now proven. It releases a compound in the back with DMT, PEA, harmalines, oxytocin, all sorts of key neural compounds that put us into the state of bliss, nirvana, samadhi, into a state where we are now one with the universe, and in a nice state. This is the goal that I use all these different tools for. All right, that's a little introduction to still point process. All right, we're going to do a quick demonstration with the Wi-Fi. I want to just touch on this today, and then we're going to finish up with lasers. The Wi-Fi is a new technology. See if you notice it from wherever you are. This is working not a laser. This is working with scalar energy. And I get tons of emails from folks that when I turn it on, one woman shared with us recently that she told her neighbor to go on the live stream. The neighbor went on the live stream, and she said, the neighbor, this was in Canada, I was doing it from Hawaii. Neighbor went on the live stream and totally felt the Wi-Fi. Well, next day she ordered one. Scalar energy is the neutral energy of the universe. It's the fabric. I often call it the scalar essence. This uses crystal oscillators and a subtle scalar array to open and induce nonlinear quantum fields. There's 6 programs on it. You can plug it into the laser or plug it into the wall. Pick different programs. I just turned it on and it happened to be on one. As soon as I turned it on, it had an effect of putting me into still point. We use it for 2 things. We use it, 1, to neutralize EMFs. We're in a location here where we're down in town and there's things going on around a bit. So I put it on. It just has a nice neutralizing effect on EMFs, cell phone towers, pollution, smog. It purifies the air. It's a purifier. It's designed to purify space for hundreds of feet. It works in a large area to neutralize. We've had people having challenges with smart meters where it just brings it down. It neutralizes. The other key benefit to this technology, from my perspective, is it opens up the quantum field. I don't want to go too long on this. Just brief introduction. I just changed it to another program called Unity, and as soon as I did this quantum field, when I have this on, for me it strengthens this. Just like I'm going to get to the laser in a moment. Laser works great on the body, on injuries, on pain. When I work the Wi-Fi, which is what this is called, one of the biggest challenges and reasons I developed this was in hotels. They run Wi-Fi everywhere. We don't use Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi for me, I'm very sensitive to things that go against resting in still point. For years I've been saying no Wi-Fi. When I'm in a space with Wi-Fi, it takes me twice as much energy to hold still point. So we use in our homes, we use wired internet. Why? We don't want to send some frequency signal all over the place. We want nice, neutral space. Well, only recently did I finally see they've now banned Wi-Fi in numerous places. They've banned in Australia. They banned it from schools because it has a definitive stressful effect on the heart and on the brain. They've banned it in Europe. So now technology is proving that actually Wi-Fi is very deleterious. Well, this is my solution to being in hotels and places where there's Wi-Fi. I turn it on, it neutralizes the Wi-Fi and brings the whole space back into a nice, neutral, and relaxed place. Normally this is $1,800. It's very unique technology. It's in the process of being patented. It's patent pending. There's nothing else on the planet that works like this. This is a really revolutionary and new technology, and this month it's free. I'll give you a couple other very simple things we do with it. When we buy groceries, we place it around. We like to put on the program Quantum when we do our groceries. Quantum. Just put Quantum on. You can put water next to it. You can put your smoothies. You can put your supplements. And what does it do? It's sending out a nice scalar neutral wave of energy. We like to put it on in the bathroom if you have a spa, if you have getting a massage. Just pick the program. Essie, the way me and Essie do it, me and Essie often pick the programs a lot. And Essie and me call it, it's funny, we say, we say, okay, let's see which one we want to do. And the way we do it is we just try each one until we see which one makes us smile. And so I go through, I pick one, and there's only 6 on here. So I put the first one, I say no, I go next one, and inevitably on each day that we do it, there's often 1, 2, or 3 programs that when we put it on, we both start smiling and we say, that's the best one. And when we find that one, that's an easy way for anyone to do this. Just go through and take a moment and see. I just put it on this one. This one's making me smile. I'm not even sure what program it is. It doesn't matter. Just move. It doesn't matter. Just try it. Does it feel good? Well, not so good. Go to the next one. Go to the next one until you feel your body start to smile. This is a great one to do if you want to do a quantum field process. Do this. Drop into still point. See how easy it is if you have one of these on? We have more and more emissaries doing events with their network and with folks when we do these events. So a great opportunity. Invite 5 or 6 people. Some people have 10, 15 people over as we're doing this live stream. And well done for the folks that are out there doing that. Great opportunity. Turn the Wi-Fi on. I'm on, if you want to be on the same program as me, I'm on Activate right now. The 3rd one, right in the middle. And as I'm on Activate, it's having a nice effect. My body's relaxing. It's opening up. Well, this is a great program for me. When we have friends over, often we'll put it on. We'll pick a nice program. It's like a subtle, ambient. This to me is inducing bliss. When I use it, my goal is I want to activate my cells, my quantum field, energy along the spine. And again, just so I'm really clear about this, what we're doing with this is we're taking waves and we're collapsing them into one point. So we're doing a very specific process where we're taking crystal oscillators and we're taking that wave that energy, and we're opening it into one point where the space opens up. We're collapsing it into a neutral space. So from my perspective, this technology doesn't send energy out to block everything and neutralize it. What it does is it very gently opens, it like picks a little hole in the fabric here of physicality, of the fabric of space. And it pricks a little hole in that space to allow this scalar essence to start flowing in. It's the scalar energy of the universe that, to me, can handle EMFs. And this is a really important point for folks in our network, because I'm not about going around and saying, oh, that's bad energy, and that's bad, and we got to neutralize that. That's not my approach at all. My approach is there is no bad. There's no good, there's no bad. There's just physics. So when I'm dealing with a challenge or a situation, whether it's with the body or whether it's with some kind of tough energy or some situation, my goal is neutrality. You come in here. Neutrality is the underlying essence that weaves the positive and the negative. It's the essence of everything. And so for me, all I want to do is bring stuff in and invite that neutral energy in. With the laser, which we're about to get to here, I want to invite that situation to come in, to dissolve, and to organize things, to reorganize back into a state of unity and perfection. Because everything is constantly in the process of opening into perfection. And neutrality to me is what nourishes it, like a flower. Water nourishes the flower, it opens up into its perfection. Human condition challenges, well, neutrality comes in and it opens things to ripen and flower into the perception and perfection. So again, this is the Wi-Fi. By the way, for folks that have the Wi-Fi, occasionally I'll use it and I'll face it right towards me, and this thing shoots out a beam like this. This is very simple LED indicators, yet it's powerful. I was in a dark room recently and it shot out a beam that just went right up all around it. So I said, oh, okay, great. So I just point let it point and tune right up here around perception. I just shifted to unity, and it just whoosh, opens up. I'm looking for when does my body shift and dissolve from here, neutrality. And sure enough, as I'm on whatever I'm on right here, my body is dissolving. It's going into neutrality. Again, another nice little benefit. By the way, if you have a bottle of something and you put it right here, you see my hands right there are absorbing the light from that. It's getting the scalar energy. It's also sending out this light. Great approach to using this to fine-tune. You can put a little thing here with a supplement bottle or with your still point activator bottle for the still point. Put the bottle right here. Let this line up right into it. It charges it with scalar energy.
I hadn't slept for about 7 years, on and off, pretty much an insomnia, 2 hours a night. It's insane, because that's what you become. It's insane. You become someone else, and don't remember what you're supposed to do, and really can't function very well, and nobody can depend on you because you never know how you're going to be that day. It's depressing. Met with Paul, did an unwind treatment, took about 40 minutes, went home that night, slept for 10 hours. Woke up the next morning and couldn't believe it. And
my goal as a natural practitioner has been to help parents find solutions to help their children naturally, non-invasively, and without pharmaceuticals. So with my own son, we work very hard, but he's always been super active, even as a baby. In fact, the first 3 years of his life, he only slept 1 hour at a time. I wish I'd known Paul back then, because I'm positive it was his adrenals. And I went from doctor to doctor, nutritionists and pediatricians, and they could not help me get my son to sleep more than 1 hour at a time. So there was some serious sleep deprivation in our house. Once my husband started using the laser and sleeping better, we tried using it on our son, doing the adrenal unwind protocol in the evening with him, just for a few minutes, just mainly his adrenals for a couple minutes each and his tailbone, and he would fall asleep. Instead of taking an hour tossing and turning and talking, he would fall asleep in like 5 to 10 minutes. And then he would sleep in one position all night instead of ending up off the side of the bed and upside down and all over the place in the morning. Now everyone sleeps, and I can't tell you how amazing it is, really the first time in 10 years. that everyone in the house is sleeping all night.
Oh man, the pain was bad. It wasn't sciatic pain, which I've had before. This was a numbing pain that was from my tailbone down, both legs, all the way to my feet. And I had done ice, heat, rolling, everything that I could think of. And for 3 days I had that pain. Couldn't sleep at night, couldn't do anything. And then just one treatment, one session with the laser, and I was out of pain.
This laser is great. I use it on my neck once because someone kicked me in the head while I was playing indoor soccer. I couldn't move my neck to one side, and my dad, my mom luckily had the laser with them, and they put it on it, and it was healing.
I didn't realize what this could do for the teeth. I started to get some problems with the back molar on the right side, and even a little pus pocket. So this is not good. And I didn't want that tooth removed because I want to get all the root canals out eventually, but they're like quite expensive, $3,000 a tooth to get the type of implants that I want, which is the zirconia. So I thought, this laser might help me to stave that off until I can well afford it. And I tell you, it just has been a miracle. 2 applications, and I'm telling you, it's like 85% better.
The satisfaction you get from seeing someone relieve their pain, or having someone who's had emotional issues or health issues, and seeing that, seeing that it changed their lives is amazing.
Well, I was at a Del Mar Fair show, and it was kitty corner to the booth where I was, and I just was watching everybody coming out very relaxed and kind of almost like in a different world, and I thought, what is that? So I went, I tried it out, and being a healthcare practitioner, I love any new updated kind of device or technology that can help heal or unwind people. So I thought I'd try it out, and that night I was asked to come to the workshop. I was just in awe. I couldn't believe all the things that it could do. And being a healthcare practitioner, like I said, I have lots of things that I could do to treat people, but this is like the fastest. It's the easiest, the fastest. Knowing that it's FDA approved, I couldn't go wrong with that one, because people feel so confident knowing that. So I purchased the family pack. And I realized that it could do emotional release, and I was struggling with that. As a practitioner, that is one of my hardest things, to figure out what technique I'm going to use to release people's baggage. So I saw they put a woman on the table, and after he did the whole protocol, front and back, and she started crying. And actually, we couldn't tell if she was crying or laughing.
And what ended up happening is he was doing the Lotus laser, which is the white laser for those of you who are getting acquainted with it. And then I didn't know what he was doing. Come to find out that my husband told me he took one of the probes, I think it was the violet probe, for about 10 feet, and he was running it, and all of a sudden I just started like bawling, just started crying. Something about now, it was just a most amazing relief, and people go, what were you crying about? And I go, I don't know. It was just a release at the deepest level. I don't even remember how long it lasted, but it was just a feeling of like, whew, finally I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna be all right. My body's gonna be able to calm down. I'm gonna be able to heal. All is right with the world. So thank you to Paul and Lily, really, for creating this.